Alright, just a quick moment of your time before the cast. Check out Wolfman's Got Nards Triple Shot Media channel, as well as GeneralLotz channel, of course. Please make sure you are subscribed to both and click that notification bell. Very important. Also remember to like or dislike this cast too. Let us know. If you want to listen to previous episodes on the go, then check out anchor.fm/realbaddudescast. Remember, that's too easy. Or search Real Bad Dudes Cast on your favorite music or podcast app. So make sure to subscribe to that as well. All right, on with the podcast.
This is the Real Bad Dudes Cast.
Bates Motel, but not the AMC TV series. No, 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 no. The 1987 made-for-TV movie that was, well, created to basically be a pilot for a television series, but it never took off.
Most people, they don't go around seeing stuff that's not there.
One more time.
What are you doing here?
One last time. Bates Motel.
See, what happened was Psycho 3 came out, and it was a bomb at the box office. So Universal was like, how can we continue this franchise? I know, TV. So I believe NBC aired Bates Motel, in which, it decanonizes Psycho 2 and 3. It takes place after Psycho. So we get an intro where we see Norman Bates, or at least Anthony Perkins' stunt double, an actor who has been in all the sequels, play Norman Bates. Then they decide to kill off Norman Bates and introduce a new character. But before we get in all that, we should do the non-spoiler recommendation stuff. Yeah. So we'll start off with Lots. What did you think of Bates Motel 87? And should other people have to enjoy this? Yeah.
Well, when it comes to obscure media, it's either obscure because it got lost in the shuffle, or it was obscure because it was complete crap. Now, I, for whatever reason, am somewhat more optimistic, and I'm not really sure why. And I often like to think, well, it's obscure, and people just didn't get it. People were too busy watching something popular or something along those lines, and that's why it did not gain popularity. Now, Bates Motel from 1987, it's one of those little bits of media that definitely deserves its obscure. Now, from what Rage just said, it's probably going to be bad. I mean, there's a chance it might have been good, but when you hear, oh, the main character of the entire franchise, he dies, and he's replaced with somebody new, it's going to be bad after that. And, as you would expect, it is. This particular bit of media is in many instances a lot like Highlander 2. You see, Highlander 2 had very little to do with Highlander 1, and it introduced a lot of elements no one liked, such as Zeist. Well, we don't have, Anthony Perkins as like an alien or something like that, but what we do have is a lot of very non-psycho-y things, and the overall film just feels a lot like it feels like pretty much what you'd expect from a cheap cash in. It's like, we got the Psycho name, let's go ahead and use it. And they went ahead and what they got was, well, a low budget, low rent, sort of Twilight Zoney thing that, well, it's forgotten for a very good reason in that it feels as cheap as it looks. So my recommendation, no, it's obscure for a reason. Don't click on it. Don't watch it. You will literally feel yourself dying as you watch yet more chaser.
Wolfman.
Would I recommend this movie? No. Fuck no. And the reason why is because this was seriously a total god awful piece of fucking shit. The best way that I can totally put this thing is just like Lotz said. There's a reason why you have never ever heard of this. Full disclosure here. I saw this whole thing already. Like I saw it from start to finish, and it was like Creepshow 3, where it was so bad that I had to finish it, like just get closure on the subject. And then when I went to watch it a second time for this little review, I still remembered it, but I got about halfway through before I just turned it off and walked away. It was that bad.
Yeah. Um. So I guess it's my turn for this.
Well, you know what? I want to say one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what the producers of this supposed TV pilot got out of this, but it should have been 3 to 5.
Mm. So
Sounds about right.
um. Now I have two thoughts on this. On one hand, Psycho and a Legacy. This does not honor it at all. On the other hand, if you're fascinated by bad TV pilots and you just want to see how much studio heads can just twist and turn and add in so many elements, this felt like 3 or 4 different like things, none that were really Psycho, jammed into one thing. And on that note, it was kind of fascinating, and it was also sort of fascinating to see actors who haven't hit their stride yet in this, like Lori Petty and Jason Bateman. And some of it was so bad it was funny. So if you're on that level, you might get some enjoyment out of it. But is something that has the name Bates Motel and Psycho? Oh my lord! Today, we just had to get into like God. Now, sorry, would I recommend it? Only if you like to torture yourself with bad movies. Then sure, and bring lots of booze.
No, bad is not a big enough word to describe this movie.
I don't know. I think all Psycho fans almost should watch this just to see how far south something can actually go. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. It's like you almost have to see it to believe it. You know?
Like the only appeal of seeing this movie is just, oh hey, look, it's Tank Girl.
Or just to be like, I don't know. Or just to be like, wow. Like really? Like no matter how much we just go in to describe this, I'd have to say you should watch it because it's kind of unbelievable of how schlocky and bad they took 3 movies, because if we're going chronological release order, this was released after Psycho 3. So it's just like, oh my god, like who thought it was a good idea to, I don't know. I just don't know how they thought it was a good idea to try to adapt this to a TV series, but they tried. Anyways,
There was no trying to this.
so yeah, now we're going to spoilers. Before we go into spoilers, I forgot to give a plot synopsis of this, but does it really matter?
No.
Okay, so let's just go into to spoilers. Actually, I'm going to go into a little bit of trivia. NBC actually used to air this every year on 4th of July.
Yeah, well, TNT plays a Christmas Story every December.
Well, it's kind of funny though, because on the 4th of July, for the people who aren't out celebrating fireworks or having barbecues, you can stay home, and if you don't have cable or anything, you can watch Bates
Oh,
Motel
that's a
on
good way to get
NBC.
people the fuck out of the house.
So, the movie opens up with a
Ugh.
news reporter who's giving a quite hammy performance. on Norman Bates being finally captured.
Hammy ate the whole fucking pig.
Oh,
Yeah, you
and
know what? There are people who like it when I'm surly and I'm grumpy, but the thing is like I don't like to act grumpy. I try to be like a positive and chill, cool guy. This movie was so bad, and if you really want someone to like hear me trash a movie, this is your golden opportunity.
well, go for it.
No, 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 no. You keep going. I'm,
Um, so then, so then, yeah, Norman is sent to the asylum, and we're introduced to our new lead character, um, Alex West,
Alex.
played by Bud Cort. Um, okay, so we're introduced to him as a little boy by the hologram doctor from Voyager, Doctor Goodman, played by Robert Picardo. Another early role, though.
Mr. Goodbar to the front desk. Front desk is looking for Mr. Goodbar.
So they give him a hairpiece because this is when the kid is little, and okay, they're giving descriptions of the kid. Like, what was it? He killed his
He killed his
stepfather or something.
stepfather.
Right. And then we get some exposition that made me laugh out loud at how absurd it was. He's holding a bird in his hands, and then there's just like, "Oh yeah, that's his pet bird. He went and unburied it and stuffed it." Like, what? What? Why does he still have it? Okay, so Doctor Goodbar is is talking to the kid, and he's like, "You need a positive father figure. You should meet our other patient. He likes stuffing things too, Norman Bates." Now, keep in mind, Psycho 2 and 3 ain't canon, so this is full mother.
No, but Nora Anthony Perkins is.
uh, oh, we'll get to Perkins' thoughts on this little film too later. So, so we then get like we don't really get a montage till later, but basically later, like Norman Bates croaks because I guess Norman Bates stunt double was like, I don't want anything to do with this show. So, um, which I should probably give the name of. Oh, uh, Kurt Paul is plays Norman Bates. He also plays the Psycho Killer at the beginning of Psycho 4, but we'll get to that when we get to Psycho 4. So, so yeah, Norman Bates is dead, and they show. Oh, this is years later, by the way. Alex is all grown up, and he's looking at a montage of pictures on the wall of him and Norman. Another thing that I honestly burst out laughing at because it was so absurd. They're like holding like peace signs of some kind of peace protests, and they're together with Thanksgiving dinner, and it's
Yeah,
just so.
like they went to fucking Woodstock together or
Oh
something,
my
you know?
god, it was. I'm like, it was glorious. I'm sorry, it was glorious, but in all the wrong ways.
This way.
Well, Alex, this is called the Blue Oyster Cult. I went a little mad too.
Okay, okay. One of the things is when you see these elements, it honestly seems like it's a joke, and then you realize they're taking it seriously, and that's when it hits you. This is 1987, I believe, right?
It's like after you watch this movie, you're like, wait, why couldn't I got a movie of that? Of Norman and this young Alex going on adventures, apparently.
I know, but here's the funny
This
thing
is
about it.
1987, yeah.
Okay, do you realize how much coke had to be ingested to have any of that make any sense at all?
I don't know. Probably about as much coke as they were on when they wrote this fucking thing.
I mean,
Right.
my God. I mean,
Like,
you gotta remember, Norman Bates kills people, a lot of people, and yet he's just, you can almost hear the happy song in the background.
I know. At least in Psycho 2, he was being rehabilitated for like over 22 years before he got released. So
you were just waiting for like that campy bluesgrass song to be playing in the background, while they were going over those pictures.
yeah, so apparently, so far, we're led to believe that at the end of Psycho, Norman just kind of flushed that mother personality right out of him, and he decided to become a father figure to this young Alex, so he wouldn't become a crazy guy like him, I guess. So then we're at a funeral, and because obviously I don't know why I said that like it's okay. Sorry, I'm gonna delete that part. So we're at a funeral, and Alex is
Take
giving
our voices down a bit.
okay, so we're at a funeral, and Alex is giving a eulogy about Norman Bates, saying how he was such a best friend to him, and like I didn't even know he was a serial killer. I don't know. He still had a good heart. That's not the exact line, but I was like, what the fuck? Sorry. So he gets Normie's ashes, which he will talk to a few times,
Good.
and then so we get a speech by Dr. Goodbar on like Alex, you know, this and that. You can get out of the asylum. And he was like, where will I go? And, he gives him a pep speech, a pep talk on like how, like life should be good. He should go do stuff, yada, yada, yada. And then comes the will reading. And so he inherits Norman Bates's motel, which
Because they would just let him do that. I mean, of course.
I
But
don't
the
even
state has to seize the property.
take logic and throw it out the window.
It's like in part 2, you could kind of suspend that disbelief. But this, on the other hand, it's just like it's almost like you're hearing someone describe a car accident, and they're describing it in a way that just makes you go, "That makes no sense."
So,
Okay, hold on.
Alex. Oh, okay.
She don't lie. Cocaine.
So then Alex is released, and he takes like a bunch of buses to get to his location. He runs into some hobos. Some hobo thinks that Norman Bates' ashes is an alcoholic beverage, and Alex is like, "That's not sake, that's Norman." Ha ha, humor. Ha 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 ha.
She don't lie. Cocaine.
So then he arrives at the Bates Motel, which is all like, you know, a little bit dilapidated, but not much. Even though it's been like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's only been 20 years, and the house has only managed to
Yeah.
kind of be.
So he arrives and he talks with Norman. He's like, "Oh, Norman, we'll make this work out." And they play somber music because
He was the kindest serial killer there ever was. I mean, come on, can you stay mad at him?
or Alex, even though he killed his stepfather. So,
Eh.
well, then we're introduced to somebody that's been living in the house, which is Willie, played by Lori Petty. One of her first roles when she was just getting down the whiny character. She kind of plays in other movies.
Yeah, this is before A League of Their Own, people.
Personally, I thought she was the best character in the movie. I know she gets annoying. I know she gets grating. But compared to the other characters, I don't know. She's the only character that had any type of spunk.
Hey, she was always good in Tank Girl. And she's actually a decent actress. She just didn't have anything really much to work with in this one.
I'll always remember her from Free Willy.
That's probably going to be the only highlight of this movie, is talking about cool shit that Lori Petty has done.
Okay, so.
Well, you can't forget about Henry.
Oh, yes, I almost forgot. Yes. Oh, he knew Norman Bates. He used to play catch with him, even though he's about the same age as Norman Bates. The way they give the speech off, he acts like he was working, doing maintenance for them. Which also reminds me of the story he told about Norman's mother and stuff. But we'll get to that a little later, I guess.
Henry Moses Gunn was cool.
Yeah, he was a good
I mean, like,
character too. He was barely in it.
I mean, he tried. He tried. Moses Gunn was in Amityville Horror 2. He was a detective, but like what I remember him best for was Moses Gunn was in a lot of good stuff, but I remember him best for that Tales from the Crypt when he was that cheap bastard who ran the funeral home.
Oh, that was him. That's a classic
Yeah,
episode.
that was Uncle Ezra when he you damn nuisance.
Yes, that's a classic episode.
You get out of here with that goddamn organ. You don't say the Lord's name in vain. You sold my shoes? It's not like you were going to get any good use out of them anyway, boy. He fucking
uh,
threw him down the stairs.
oh, and also Greg Henry is also in the movie. He played Tom Fuller, the bank guy, right? The loan person.
Oh, no. Oh. We'll get into the bank guy once you bring it up because I got some words about that. Because that's after everything came out with the bank guy, that's when I turned the movie off and walked away.
And he's a great actor. He's worked with De Palma on like multiple projects, like everything. He's been in like every De Palma film from Carrie to
Well, he was in Scarface,
Scarface. Yeah, like
Star
them
Trek
all.
Insurrection. He was in
Right.
Payback. He was in what was that one movie?
That's the only plus of this watching this Drek is seeing like all these actors in earlier roles before they became
He was in Guardians of the
popular.
Galaxy.
Right. Yeah, he was the grandpa.
Yeah, he was the grandfather.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, it's really funny because I don't remember who it was, but someone brought up the Raising Cain movie, and I remember Greg Henry was in Raising Cain.
Yeah, I told him about the that director's cut thing.
No, but it was during like Psycho 2 or 3 where someone brought up that this was like Raising Cain, one of those movies, and then it's just like kind of ironic that you know
You're
not really thinking about it. Someone brought up Raising Cain, and now there was actually a really prominent actor who was in that fucking movie too.
right. No, I did. I brought up Night of the Creeps to him because he didn't know Slither paid homage to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, we gotta get back to this. So I might be skipping stuff in the plot synopsis, but whatever. So he talks to her, and I think isn't that the time when when he tells her like I don't want you working or help me out, and she gets mad and leaves or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Womp womp.
he told her to kick rocks.
Yeah, and then he goes to the bank, and that's when he meets Tom Fuller, and he
Yeah.
refused to give him to a loan, and so forth. Wow. I don't know why, but talking about this plot synopsis is like draining the life out of me. It's like, it's like I already
You know
watched.
what? I'm just gonna get to it. The point when I quit this fucking movie was the point when they started to do the whole thing about how the house is haunted by Mrs. Bates.
Yeah, yeah, and you start seeing. Yeah, let's skip to that, man.
Uh,
Yeah, we start seeing
that,
visions
but the
of
house,
like,
but the house is haunted by Mrs. Bates, and then it's just. It turns out that it's the goddamn bank manager pulling all this shit off just to scare him off the land. I mean, the only thing that would have redeemed the movie at this point was to have the fucking mystery machine pull up at the Bates Motel.
and she supposedly killed her husband. Oh, and why is both of their bodies buried there? What the hell?
Well, I don't think viewers would understand who she and who their bodies.
Sorry, Norma and her husband.
Well,
What?
yeah, that was the whole notion. But you see that right there, that's another good point. Norma and her husband. You know, this will bleed into Psycho 4. This whole fucking business with the bank manager. This ain't Scooby Doo, motherfucker. Like really, that was just the stupidest goddamn thing I ever saw. And then it tried to answer questions with like canon logic here, saying that Norma killed the husband this way and that their bodies are buried on the land and all this shit.
Wait.
And
We're forgetting an
what?
important thing though. Okay,
What?
at the end of Cycle 1, Norma's body was discovered. So why would they bury the skeleton? there. I mean, even Psycho 2, that it was in a
Well, it
graveyard,
tried to
right?
retcon it.
How the fuck do you on that? We saw the movie. You know, we all saw Psycho.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. It's just you know what it is? It's like that stupid ass in Jason Goes to Hell when he's like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of the movie. I can't wait to make a great movie out of this." And then they can't even fucking spell Jason Voorhees' last name right in the mailbox.
What was the husband's name? Because he had the ring on with like his initials or whatever.
I don't remember.
Anyways,
But it's just like I had seen this movie before, and I still have words about the ending. But as soon as that whole thing came up, where it was like the it's almost like they're gonna fucking take the mask off. It's Old Man Fuller, you know.
yeah, but you forgot something else that happens in this.
Yeah, and then he has to help them fix the motel, or he's gonna go to jail.
No, no, you forgot. You forgot when things go south. Well, actually, you know, before we get to that, let's not
No,
forget.
you know what, Rage, man? Seriously, this movie fucking went south from Jump Street. Like as soon as the
You
credits were over, this movie was done.
well, don't forget when
Well,
Mrs.
fill
Bates
us in.
when Norma Bates is found, electricity, ghost electricity, I guess, shocks the person driving the. Yeah,
Yeah, because that makes sense.
but no, the big thing of this movie, when this becomes something completely different, nothing about
Yeah, as soon as
Psycho at
the motel
all.
got done, it became something completely different. And oh my god, I like I
So
said, I remember bits and pieces, so I'm not gonna
so we're-
comment a whole lot except
yes,
to laugh at stuff that you list off. But for the
so
you know, go ahead.
so it becomes so what you think is going to become a mystery of Norma Bates and her husband and stuff and ghosts. Then Bates Motel 87 becomes a completely different. Well, I'll call it a movie. I know it's a TV pilot, but it's an hour and a half long, and plus it never took off. Um, so in this movie, they get the motel fixed, and they're worried about getting the first guest um, because Alex does get the loan. He gets it for like, how much was it? I think the first half he owned was 10,000 or something. So they're waiting for the first guest. Nobody's showing, which I have to comment on that. You know what? Maybe you're not getting any guests because it's still called Bates Motel. I'm just saying. Maybe you might want to rename it if you're rebranding it anyways. I'm just saying. So,
Yeah, the secret's out.
Or at least,
I mean,
or at least put something out that says something like, Bates Motel now with 20% less stabbings.
at least the Friday 13th series was actually smart enough where after part 4, the final chapter, and they made part 6, Jason Lives, they renamed it Camp Forest Green because they don't want people to think of Crystal Lake. At least that movie was intelligent enough to do that. But they just gotta call it Bates Motel, brand recognition. So we get our first guest. She's like an aerobics teacher, I believe. So so she checks in and I forgot. Oh, she said she wants peace and quiet. I guess to what the hell did she tell Alex? She wanted to become a writer or something? I don't know. She need anyway, so it turns out she wants to fucking kill herself because she's had a bunch of failed marriages and she hasn't had children and everything sucks.
And she got old.
Yeah, she's apparently old, even though she's like in her 30s, I think, maybe 40s.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but yeah, the whole idea is that she's old and she hasn't done shit with her life.
Yeah,
So yeah, why not go here? You know,
yeah.
that'll look
So
re-
that's
that'll
what
look real fun. That'll look
that's
real fucking good on the Yelp review. You know.
that's what I was thinking. Oh man, somebody that'd be hilarious if somebody made like a fan series of this and just kept the comedy up. But anyways, back to this. So she's in the tub when this girl comes in and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I guess I had the wrong room," and convinces her to put her clothes on, and, and, and they go out and there's this party going on. It's all 50s styled.
Yeah, it was the
Um,
prom. She was like, "Hey, instead of killing yourself, come dance with me."
yeah. Well, that's when she meets Jason Bateman, from
Yeah,
such
Tony.
hits as Teen Wolf 2. No, he's been in so much other stuff. So, meanwhile, this is going on. Alex is serving them punch. They're all drinking punch, and he has to go get the sandwiches, So they're eating sandwiches, which I'll bring up why that's important very soon. So
Yes, because the sandwich of death is the most important aspect of this show.
she's talking to Tony and blah blah blah, and then she's like, "Oh, you're too young for me. You're like a high school student." She's like, "Look at me. I have lines on my face, even though she's not that old." But so then uh, so then she scares off Tony, and she's like, "I'm sorry," and then I don't know, blah 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 blah, and then she goes back to
Okay,
her.
okay, hold on.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna let you
lot-
finish, but if it sounds like this movie is like really boring, dull, and pedantic, and it goes on forever, it's only because it does. I mean, that's one of the things that's particularly bad about this show. It's like, okay, if it was bad, comes in a variety of flavors.
You,
Uh, Sometimes bad can be very entertaining. You know, this is the kind of bad where it's like it's been on for 15 minutes, but it feels like it's been on for about 2 hours.
Yeah, because nothing happens. They treated this, and you know what it wound up being? At the end of the day, this whole fucking thing was just a bad Twilight Zone episode.
so then
That's
she
the best
goes
way.
she goes back to
That's really
her.
the best way to describe
All
it, too.
right. So then she goes back to her room, and then she's like, "You know what? Fuck this '50s party. I'm fuck my life. I'm gonna kill myself." Because you know what? I'm gonna do it in this room because at least someone else can clean up the mess. So then she's about to slice her wrist open, and then all of a sudden the girl appears behind her. How did you get in? I locked the door. And then she's like, "That's because I'm a ghost." Okay, she doesn't say it that way, but
Yikes.
and then and then she's like, um, and then she's like, "I'm here because I committed suicide," and it's like, "Whoa, whoa, what?" So then she opens up the windows, and they're all there in their '50s cars, and then it turns out that the Bates Motel is magical. It turns out that maybe we need to call the Ghostbusters because apparently the Base Motel is like the apartment in Ghostbusters 1, where it's like some kind of antenna magnet to paranormal activity because all these people are ghosts from across the United States. And only the US, apparently. So they all.
Only the United States.
So then we're introduced to all these people who were born well before the '50s, right? Then they died about the '50s or '60s because they killed themselves. Including Jason Bateman. And then they all drive.
Jason Bateman.
And then they all drive off to the afterlife, or
Fantasyland.
or the next haunted motel to save suicidal people.
Come on, fucking pack it up already. We gotta be in 5 hotels in 3 days.
Because
But you know what I picked up though is that the teenage girl, it wasn't just some random person trying to save her life. It was like a fucking a younger version of her from like a parallel universe or some shit like that.
now you're just
Like
giving it too much credit. Like that.
no, that's exactly the impression that I got. Is that this was some stupid ass fucking god awful Twilight Zone wannabe thing, and it was terrible. I mean, like, really, why would you do this? How could you take a perfectly established thing like this and, oh, well, the second and the third one didn't happen, but we're gonna do shit that's gonna make you think about it, you know? And then, like, fucking the first half of it is a bad Scooby Doo thing, and then the third half of it is a bad Twilight Zone thing. And how do you fuck that up? Like, this wasn't even like the worst Tales from the Crypt episode was like a fucking Oscar worthy episode compared to this.
Right.
They get in the car and then they drive off and then yeah, I'm Barbara. I'm gonna go live my life to the fullest now because fucking ghosts told me to do it. Like
And that. I mean, and all this is why I'm saying I'm telling. I'm going to tell people to watch it because it's so absurdly crap.
But it
yeah, but you
but it takes forever to do anything in this show. That's
and do you
why it's
remember? Sorry, but do you remember the last part of it? And this is gonna be my final word on the matter. Do you remember what happened at the very end when Alex looks at the camera?
Oh, and he says it like check in
Yeah,
anytime.
if you ever need a room, come on by. I can't say what you're gonna find, but it sure makes the world go around. I
Right.
didn't know that a big steaming pile of monkey shit like this would make the world go around.
This movie has such a skewed way on looking at mass murderers and suicide prevention.
It didn't even have potential to be good. Like you couldn't even go at it and say, well, maybe if they kind of went down this route, it could have been better, or you know what, maybe if they had a better sound editor, or maybe the director knew what the fuck he was doing. You can't even do that. This was bad on all fucking counts. I'm like,
Hmm.
this thing was so bad that this technically should have killed careers, and it's a fucking miracle that these wonderful actors that were in this, because the actors were really good, and not for nothing, they didn't have anything good to work with, so they're the ones that tried, you know. But it's amazing that these people managed to make it out of this movie with their careers intact and go on to make shit like Free Willy and The League of Their Own and
Right.
fucking
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's
you're
just it's a
you are
it's a
right
stereo.
about. Wait, let's step back a few steps. You are right because I guess I missed it. But yeah, Barbara's real name is Sally, and that teenage girl was a younger self from an alternate dimension. So,
What?
th-
I just pulled that out of my ass, which is
he-
pretty much what the writers of this movie did.
from alternate dimension, who took her own life and is now trapped in the other side, along with Tony and the other teens who also commit suicide. Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah, I missed the part where Barbara's real name is Sally. Apparently,
Yeah, you probably had a blackout and fell and hit your fucking head on something.
I was probably asking myself, "Where's Lori Petty?" I'd rather put up with her being annoying and whiny because she's the only one that has life in this thing. Which, yeah, like Alex is like, yeah, I don't need you, leave, and then like she makes him meatloaf later on because she wants to be a cook, and he's like, it's okay, and she gets upset and has a breakdown because that's what her characters do. Only it's more grating because she hasn't perfected her whiny character yet.
Just ugh.
Yeah, yeah, and then hmm, yeah, you're right. Then we get to the main plot, which happens quick because that suicide part goes on forever. It's like, come on, lady, just just do it. No, it's horrible. So
You're sitting
Just
there.
do it.
You're
Just
si-
slice it. Oh, never mind.
say what?
and you know what? I hate to make light of that stuff because that's like a really sore subject for me.
But
But
this
at this
this thing
point in the
handles
movie,
it so assy, you can't help but make fun of it.
well, no, it's just I hate to joke about it, but at this point in the movie, you're just sitting there like, you know what? Just fucking do it so we can see the credits. Like, put yourself out of our misery, please.
Uh, so
You know, and I apologize for making light for that because it's like I hate doing that sort of stuff. But it's just like if you're a fan of film, and I've seen some bad movies in my day, I've seen some bad TV adaptations in my day. It's just it was this bad, and it's something that once again, like you guys, like you listeners, you have like the option to like get up and walk away. And our job is to present it to you and give you the full thing. So we kind of don't have a choice but to sit and watch it. So it's like I couldn't even do that. As soon as the bank thing was done, I literally got up and I walked away.
so let's address that because that happens rather quick. Like that's the last couple minutes of the thing. So Alex, okay, throughout the thing, sees some ghost stuff. Like he sees Father Bates.
Father Bates.
I forgot his, I forgot what his first name was. I'm sorry. He's like
It's
he's
Father
like
Bates. That's
he's,
his name.
he's like laying anyway, he's laying below the sign with the knife sticking out. He runs out, there's nothing there. He sees someone in the window. So then at the very end of the thing we see a ghoulish skull looking Miss Bates coming after him. And then it turns out God, oh my God, why is the ending such a blur? How's he? Oh, he's about to attack him. Oh my, now I'm confused. How did he get unmasked? Someone was there to unmask him, right? It wasn't Lori Petty yet, was it? Because she comes in and scares him first.
I honestly don't remember. I was hoping you would remember more of the details of that film because it's just so bad.
Man, I forgot. Like he
Yeah,
showed.
that's your brain attempting to save itself.
Oh my god! Yeah, all I know is like he's about to attack him, and then what the hell? He gets demasked. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I forgot.
Keep discussing the film amongst yourselves. I shall return.
Moses, the Henry Watson character is with Alex at the end, and so when Tom Fuller, dressed as Mrs. Bates, attacks him, Henry jumps in, demasks him, and then Lori Petty's character, whatever the hell her character's name was, which was a Willie, shows up and scares him, and then she takes off the rubber mask and she records and like, I got a confession, so they can blackmail him and get cheaper payments for the motel. That's what happened. Which I should point out, um, where they got that costume from. Is there a Party City by this area? Because they both have similar costumes. She does do a bit of, and she does do a bit of detective work to figure this out. But it's like you got the same costume. What the hell? Anyways, so then, yeah, at the end that you get that speech that you gave earlier, when he's like, "Stop at any time," blah blah blah. World goes round, and that's it. There's other stuff that happens, like they fix up the motel and they add a fountain and stuff, but blah.
No, all around it was just a clusterfuck. It was a total mess from start to finish. It had no idea where it was going. The music was stupid. The acting, they had nothing to work with, so I can't blame them.
It was it was
The story was completely nonsensical. It seemed like they went and they cherry picked the worst elements of so many franchises into compiling it
that's
together.
that's the thing. This this is something else wearing the hollowed out husk of the Psycho brand.
Yeah, but you could do so much with it. You could do so much with the Psycho
I
franchise, and
know.
this is what they did. They tried making it so that the hotel is a gateway to another dimension. You know,
They could
quit
have had
throwing your garbage into our dimension.
copycat killers, or maybe they could have ran with the ghost thing. I don't know. Only make it scary, not suicide prevention PSA stuff.
Ugh. Yeah,
Because
spray me with water. Now I'm sad.
it was like they were trying to make this like a family show. Ugh.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they were trying to do.
Of course, they did that to RoboCop as well, but at least they kept that more pure compared to this.
Yeah, bad language makes for bad feelings.
So
Yeah, I can't wait to sit little Johnny down in front of the TV and let him watch a fucking movie about a goddamn house which houses a corpse that talks to him, and there's zombies and ghosts and shit that live in the motel. I cannot wait for my son to watch this. You know, it's just ugh.
or befriending a mass murderer. Ah,
You know,
Norman.
Timmy.
We'll make it work out. So
Little Timmy needs to
one last
befriend Jeffrey
what
Dahmer.
one last thing I'll bring up is you can actually find the footage from the con, but Anthony Perkins did watch Bates Motel.
Did I see the TV Psycho, the Bates Motel, with Buckcourt, yeah, and what did I think of it? Well, I had to watch it. People say, you're not going to see that, are you? I mean, we've seen the trailers and it doesn't. I said, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch every minute of it, and I don't want to take any phone calls. People saying, oh, don't you think it's great or don't you think it's awful? I said, I just want to see this thing. And, this will probably be my only opportunity. It's a TV show. It's not going to be something I can go down in the neighborhoods and see. Probably won't be even able to rent it. They don't rent that thing out, do they? That's good. So I watched it. I watched every minute of it. I thought it was just terrible. I thought it was a desecration of the Bates Motel, and just how the movie
He said that Bud Cort called him for advice, and he said just do push-ups or, just to get abs. That's all the advice he gave him.
Yeah, hi, I'm doing this really intense scene. How do you get your stomach muscles to tighten like that?
No, that's all the advice he gave him. He's like, can you maybe help me out on this role? And that's all he said.
There's nothing else to say.